News release. Public records scrutiny deepens at Arvona Municipal Authority, concerns raised over inclusion of unverified documents. For immediate release. Date, July 23, 2025. Contact, Vision Press Production News Media. Phone, 814-672-5366. Email, visionpress@windstream.net. Arvona PA. A formal objection has been raised regarding the Arvona Municipal Authority's consideration of a 34-page packet of unverified documents for inclusion in its July 21, 2025 meeting minutes. The documents, originally submitted during the June 23 meeting, were neither reviewed nor validated at that time but resurfaced in the July agenda without board action. This development has triggered scrutiny from community members concerned about compliance with Pennsylvania law and the integrity of public records. At issue is whether documents unsupported by board verification or legal counsel review can lawfully be adopted into an official municipal record. Legal framework and violations. Under the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, 65 PAC.S. 705, public meeting minutes must reflect only the substance of official actions taken during proceedings. The Act requires transparency and prohibits the insertion of documentation that has not been presented, verified, and adopted by the governing body. Additionally, 18 PAC.S. 4911 Pennsylvania Statute on Tampering with Public Records or Information makes it unlawful to knowingly enter false, misleading, or unauthorized content into an official public record. The Municipal Authorities Act further stipulates that all materials incorporated into meeting minutes must reflect accurate and board-approved business activity. Failure to adhere to these statutes risks legal exposure and undermines procedural integrity. Procedural breakdown. At the July 21 meeting, an objection was raised under the provisions of the Sunshine Act by a concerned resident, pointing out that the documents had not been verified, as confirmed by the authority's chairman. Despite this, the packet was listed for approval, raising questions about the role of the chair, secretary, and solicitor in safeguarding public records. Inclusion of unverified materials not only violates statutory requirements but also invites civil liability if the documents contain inaccuracies or defamatory content. Community response and recommendations. Local governance advocates are calling for the removal of unverified documents from the July 21 minutes until proper review and board adoption occurs. Recording of the public objection within the official minutes. Future safeguards requiring solicitor review and board vote before any external submissions are entered into the record. Amendments to the meeting minutes and procedural review at the next scheduled public session. This issue is about protecting the public trust, said William J. McCusker, a longtime advocate for legal compliance and ethical governance. Meeting minutes must reflect verified decisions, not personal submissions masquerading as official record. The matter is expected to be revisited at the authority's next public meeting. Community members are encouraged to attend and support calls for procedural transparency and record integrity. Concerned citizens' concern and formal objection. Vision Press Production News Media VPPNM has received a copy of a formal objection to insertion of unverified documents into TIMA minutes, sent to TIMA and others as a formal objection. Lincola Gallagher. 95, Grandview Drive. Coalport, Pennsylvania, 16627. July 22, 2025. Arvona Municipal Authority. 230, Hemlock Road. Arvona, Pennsylvania, 16656. Formal objection to inclusion of unverified documents in meeting minutes. Dear members of the Arvona Municipal Authority, I am writing to formally object to the inclusion of a 34-page packet of documents submitted by Donna Morrison and supported by Karen Warfield. These documents were initially requested for inclusion in the meeting minutes during the June 23, 2025, Irvona Municipal Authority meeting. However, they were not reviewed, verified, or formally acted upon at that time. Despite the lack of validation, the same documents appeared again as part of the July 21, 2025, meeting materials, listed for approval and incorporation into the official minutes. This raises significant concerns regarding the authenticity, accuracy, and procedural handling of those records. As a member of the public, I exercised my right under the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act to make a formal objection during the July 21, 2025, meeting. I raised concerns directly with Chairman Tom Brink, specifically asking if the documents had been fact-checked or validated. He acknowledged that they had not been verified and were simply included as submitted. Including such materials in the official record without proper review, verification, or legal counsel compromises the integrity of the meeting minutes and exposes the Irvona Municipal Authority to potential liability or misrepresentation. According to the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, 65 PAC.S. 701 ETSEQ, members of the public have the right to object to the perceived violation of procedural requirements during public meetings. Once such an objection is made, it is the duty of the public body to pause and ensure that their actions remain within the bounds of lawful and transparent governance. Under the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, 65 PAC.S. 705 written minutes shall be kept of all open meetings of agencies. The minutes shall include the date, time, and place of the meeting, the names of members present, the substance of all official actions and a record by individual member of the roll call votes taken, and the names of all citizens who appeared officially and the subject of their testimony. The Act does not permit the inclusion of unofficial, unverified, or extraneous documentation into the public meeting minutes unless that material was officially presented, acknowledged, and adopted by the governing body during the meeting. Including materials that have not been verified or approved by board vote would violate the spirit and requirements of the Sunshine Act and compromise the integrity of the public record. Furthermore, 18 PAC.S. 4911, tampering with public records or information, prohibits knowingly entering false or misleading information into a public record, which includes official meeting minutes. The inclusion of documentation that has not undergone any validation or board action introduces legal and ethical risks for the authority. Further, under Pennsylvania's Municipal Authorities Act, all records incorporated into meeting minutes must reflect official action of the board and must be accurate representations of verified authority business. If documentation is submitted without board action or verification, it should not be included in the minutes as if it were an adopted or factual record of the authority's decisions or operations. It is the responsibility of the authority's chair, secretary, and solicitor to ensure the accuracy and legitimacy of all materials entered into the official record. The inclusion of documents, especially lengthy or potentially disputed ones, without review from legal counsel or a formal vote by the board constitutes a lapse in proper procedure and violates basic principles of open and accountable governance. I respectfully request that the Irvona Municipal Authority take the following actions. 1. Refrain from including the 34-page packet in the July 21, 2025, minutes unless and until the documents are fully reviewed, independently verified, and formally adopted by board vote, with clear evidence of such cross-checking and validation made available to the public. 2. Note this written objection in the official meeting minutes, in correlation with the verbal objection I made during the meeting, in accordance with Sunshine Act protections. 3. Ensure all future documents added to official minutes undergo validation and appropriate board approval in a public and transparent manner. 4. Amend the minutes at the next scheduled meeting to reflect any improper inclusion of unverified documents and correct the official record accordingly. 5. Request that the solicitor review whether the proposed inclusion of these documents is compliant with the Sunshine Act and the Irvona Municipal Authority's obligations under Pennsylvania law. This objection is submitted in good faith, with the intent to uphold transparency, accuracy, and legality within the Irvona Municipal Authority's operations and records for the benefit of the ratepayers and community. Public minutes must reflect what has been lawfully and officially transacted, not serve as a repository for unverified personal submissions. Sincerely, Lincola Gallagher. Vision Press Production News Media thanks Ms. Lincola Gallagher for the privilege to let the people know in a transparent manner. We hope to video interview Ms. Gallagher in the near future. Thank you for watching Vision Press Production News Media.